What lies in front of you is a 2019 Toyota Corolla XSE hatchback with 151 miles, which means the 2012 Honda Pilot EX, the one that started it all, is thankfully gone. Now, the Corolla was originally introduced in Japan in 1961 and was known as the Toyota Publica, where it was sold for 5 years before being refurbished as the Toyota Corolla in 1966. Since then, Toyota has had 12 generations of the Corolla and has been known for its long-lasting dependability, which has made it worldwide successful over the years. Now, the hatchback version of the Corolla was known as the Toyota Auris in recent years from 2006 to 2018. It was also known as the Scion IM from 2016 until Scion's passing in late 2016. Now, sales-wise of the Corollas in the recent decade since 2000, 2006 was its best-selling year with 387,000 sales in America, which has not been capped since then. As well, the Corolla hatchback was reintroduced in 2018 for Toyota's lineup and was buffed up for 2019 as Toyota added 30 more horsepower in the 2019 model years. And if anyone cares, the Corolla means small crown in Latin. So if you see a Corolla, it is a small crown. Now, in this video, I'll be taking you around the spunky new Corolla hatchback, showing you its awesome features, driving it around and reviewing it personally, and seeing where it falls on the Lemonless scoring scale. Stay tuned. One thing I want to point out before I get into the Corolla is the back end hatch part of it. The remodel of the Corolla hatch is a tremendous improvement since the Auris generations of the previous years. The rear of the hatchback is so chiseled and imposing looking. All the angles seem to flow into the Toyota logo in the back and the middle, right above the badges in the lower part. In my opinion, it is tremendous looking. On the XSE, you have the two dual rear exhaust pipes, which are fake, but nonetheless they look very cool. And then to point out that you got the XSE, Toyota inscribes that on the back of your trunk in big red letters right here. Looks rather cool. And on the XSE package of the Corolla hatch, you have these 18-inch wheels, which look amazing. They're very sporty and flowing looking. And personally, I believe they fit the Corolla and match the black exterior very nicely. And just like the rear hatch part of the Corolla, the front end is amazing and chiseled looking. All of the edges of the front seem to coincide into the logo right there. And the headlights themselves look very nice as well. You have these swooping L-shaped headlights in the back with this one circle in the front. Your flashes are the same L-shaped flowing back to the hood. But everything in the front and rear of the Corolla hatch is very chiseled and imposing looking. I personally believe this is the best looking modern hatch in the market. And one other cool exterior feature I believe is worth mentioning on the Corolla hatchback is this white line that runs from the front of the headlights all the way to the rear of the hatch. I think it's a very subtle but nice looking add-on to the exterior of the Corolla. One peculiar feature on the Corolla's interior is this weird protruding bar-like thing right underneath the air vent right here. When taller people are going to enter their Corolla, some people may bang their knee upon this thing, which is a very odd feature considering everything else is more pushed in and slanted. For some odd reason, this is very far out and protruding by the entrance. One feature I want to commend Toyota on for the interior of their Corolla is the nice materials overall. The door handle is lined with this smooth black plastic as well as this nice chrome lining. And although it is plastic, the overall white or dark gray stitching on the inside looks like a leather interior all around for a car that costs less than $30,000, which is a very nice touch on behalf of Toyota. Other hatchbacks have very cheap and normal plasticky looking interiors. However, I firmly believe that the Corolla's interior is very nice looking for a very short and low budget car. And since this is a 2019 model year Corolla, of course it is a push button ignition. All you have to do is put your foot on the brake, make sure the key is in the car, and hit the button to ignite the engine. And just like that, Toyota greets you with a nice little Corolla sign and a Toyota logo on the infotainment screen. As you can see, you have the digital dashboard right here. Although Toyota claims it to be entirely digital, when the car is off, you can see that this is an actual RPM rate with the nozzle right there, as well as your gas gauges and temperature gauges on the right. You can see the little nozzle right there. However, the speedometer and the odometer in the middle are all digital. And as you can see, it is a currently dark blue eco mode of the Corolla. However, when I put the vehicle in sport mode, by pressing this little button near the gear shifter, you can see it will turn red at the push of a button. Now the vehicle is in sport mode and you are ready to cruise around the back roads in your Corolla XSE hatchback. One nice little feature about the Corolla's speedometer, as you can see here, when it is cold weather outside, as you can see, it is a lovely 34 degrees Fahrenheit in New Jersey. I can feel the frostbite reaching the outer tips of my fingers. Nonetheless, as you can see, Toyota warns you of these frigid temperatures with a small little snowflake near the road, as you can see right here. One other cool touch in the center console of the Corolla, instead of having a boring old car positioned in the Corolla, it has a little Corolla hatch to indicate that the door is open. Pretty cool on Toyota's part. One particular feature I am not fond of in the Corolla is the amount of stupid blank switches near the steering wheel. As you can see, Toyota has made a panel for 6 buttons on the left side of the steering wheel. However, only one of those 6 buttons is actually filled. I don't know why Toyota didn't integrate the headlight and main light dimmer on one of these panels or the automatic headlight button instead of leaving 5 blank switches for no apparent reason. And in other Corolla hatch models, this will be the same case as well. Since this is the highest trim XSE model, there will be 5 blank switches near the steering wheel in every 2019 Corolla hatchback, which is a very stupid move on Toyota's part. I don't know why they couldn't have just made 2 buttons for the headlight dimmer and the automatic headlights outside, but Toyota wasn't feeling it and wanted to be a little more wasteful with their plastic materials, so kudos to Toyota. One other nice feature about the interior of the Corolla is the cell phone charger beneath the center console. All you have to do is turn the power button. When that light turns green, all you have to do is put your phone there, case or not, on this little pad, and the Corolla will charge your phone automatically without those pesky wires as you cruise along the highway. Very nice touch on Toyota's part. Also here, as you can see, you have your high and low heated seats for the driver and passenger of the Corolla. At the touch of a button, you can warm your ass in the cold, frigid months of New Jersey, or only warm it partially in case you're not feeling it that day. Nonetheless, it's a nice little overall convenient area on Toyota's part in the Corolla hatch. Another nice feature about the XSE trim of the Corolla and other Toyota models is the JBL sound system integration that Toyota uses in their high-end vehicles. The radio in this vehicle sounds extremely well. JBL is a great sound system brand, and many Toyota drivers are very satisfied with the speakers within their vehicle, so nice touch on Toyota's part. And now it is time to move on to Toyota's infotainment system in the Corolla. Although the infotainment system in this vehicle is very simple and easy to use, I really wish Toyota would have integrated it a little better instead of sticking some hot glue and tossing an iPad on the middle of the center console. Nonetheless, here it is. In the menu tab of the Corolla's infotainment system, you have a plethora of apps to choose from. And as well, if you had your phone hooked up to the system of the Corolla, you could download apps as well. However, since no phones are connected, I cannot do that at this time. But if you wanted to play Candy Crush while driving along I-95 in your Corolla, you have the ability to do that. To be completely honest with you, there's really not a whole lot of stuff you can do with this infotainment system. Aside from the menu I just showed you, audio just displays your various sources of music in the car. Map has your directions, GPS settings. Seek and track regard your music controls. Phone is just your contacts and automatic calling systems, and apps I already touched on. Nonetheless, it is simple to use, nothing complicated, which is very nice for some people who do not want any overbearing technology in their vehicles. Moving along, as you can see, Toyota also emphasizes it has a JBL sound system, Sirius XM offered with a 3-month trial when you purchase a Toyota, and your HD radio to have the beautiful sound grazing your eardrums as you roll along the highway in your Corolla hatchback. Taking a look at the steering wheel of the Corolla, it is a bit overbearing. There are a lot of buttons on this steering wheel. Starting from the left, you have your select and scrolling navigation tabs right here. You have your back button, you have your call button with your voice, your automatic controlling with the phone. You can increase and lower the volume right here. You have your voice automatic controls right here. On the right side of the steering wheel in the Corolla, you have your backup indicator indicating that you are too close to something. You have your annoying lane keep assist, which means when you cross one of the lines on the highway, your Corolla will beep at you and tell you to center yourself out. Out here, you have your mode button to change the various modes inside the infotainment system. Here you have your automatic cruise control button, a reset button right there, the normal settings, a cancel button, and a skip song playlist for your music in the Corolla. One satisfying little touch about the Corolla's interior, as you can see, park, reverse, neutral, drive, and manual mode all change colors when you shift them down. Park is in blue, reverse is in orange, neutral is in green, drive is back to blue, and manual is also blue to indicate it is a driving mode. As well, up here you have your sport mode, as I previously indicated. You have your traction control button in case you want to go off-roading in your Corolla. And down here you have your parking brake. When you put it in drive, if you forget to turn it off, it will turn off automatically for you, which is nice, so you can actually drive down the highway without ruining your brakes. However, if you want to turn it off manually, put your foot on the brake, hit the button, red light goes off, parking brake is off. And here, the hold button is a bit different. Say you are driving down the highway and you don't feel like holding down the brake pedal when you're stopped at a stop sign or at a red light. You press the hold button, and when the Corolla senses you are no longer accelerating, it will put the brakes down for you, so you will not have to hold your foot against the brake pedal for the lazy drivers in society. So when you're at a stop sign, the Corolla will hold the brake for you instead. Storage-wise on the Corolla hatch is not ample by any means. As you can see here, you have 2 cup holders and a very small center storage console, which can hold, I don't know, maybe like 8 sunflower seeds. Right here you have your outlet in case you wanted to charge your phone and not use the handy dandy pad as previously mentioned. But if you want to use a wire and charge your phone in case you have more than one passenger in the vehicle, you can do that right there. Slam shut simply. Other storage facilities in the Corolla hatch, you have a glove compartment, which is of decent size and is currently cluttered with a bunch of useless owner's manuals. And on the side door panels, there is a little bit of storage. You can fit a cup holder in one of the outlets right there, which that is made to do. And in case you wanted to store like a pen or something like that, you could store it in this little cabin right there. But nonetheless, you're not going to be storing huge things in the Corolla. One beneficial little feature on the interior of the Corolla hatchback, on the sun visor, say you are going on a date and you want to make sure you don't look like absolute crap, you can pull over the mirror on the sun visor, and when you do so, a little light comes on so you can better analyze your individual looks to make sure you look grand for whatever occasion you may be going on in your brand new Corolla hatchback. Nice little touch by Corolla and Toyota. Comfort-wise in the Corolla, the XSE trim is fitted with these smooth leather seats and a very odd-looking cloth-like pattern, which is fairly comfortable. However, I feel like the seats would have been much more attractive had they just stuck with full leather or full cloth. The XSE is the only trim of the Corolla that offers leather. If you want to buy an SC model, you're going to have to settle for cloth seats, which are somewhat comfortable. They're a bit firm. The leather's a bit smoother and nicer. I mean, granted, it is no fully plush Rolls-Royce or Cadillac Escalade seats, but they're fairly comfortable for the most part. Not too bad. And then they're heated as well, but not too bad for a road trip if you ask me personally. One humorous little touch in the rear of the Corolla, aside from very small cup holders that could barely fit a water bottle, back here Toyota indicates that you are supposed to put a closed lid beverage on the left and not some stupid flimsy open beverage, warning you of spillage. Maybe since Toyota predicts that most people who own this thing will have young children in the back seats, it advises their parents to not let their children drink out of an open cup in case of ruining the luxurious leather upholstery in the rear seats of their Corolla hatchback. And going back to the storage on the trunk space of the Corolla, there's a fair amount of trunk space in the rear in case you need to haul some items. You can also put the rear seats down pretty easily as well. Right here you have your Velcro mounted floor mat to protect your items right here. Underneath that you have a spare tire for the Corolla. To emphasize the vehicle that you purchased from them, Toyota wanted to display this on the rear trunk by issuing a flashy Corolla badge on the cloth back. Up here you have your trunk material hider right here, which pops up when you open the trunk. I find it kind of humorous that it warns you to not put items atop the hider. There is a 2 kilogram max, so in case you were loading groceries, Toyota does not want you to crush your protector in case you wanted to hide the diamonds you're carrying around in the rear of your Corolla. The one kind of deep crevice, you have 2 pretty deep pockets right here in the rear of the Corolla that are pretty spacious in case you need to hold some longer but thin items in the back. Nonetheless, the storage in the rear of the Corolla is okay for a little spunky hatchback like this one. So getting behind the wheel of the 2019 Toyota Corolla XSE hatchback, you instantly notice that this thing's got some serious pickup. From the previous generation hatchbacks for the Corolla, Toyota added 30 more horsepower, and clearly that's evident when you're driving the wheel of this thing. The acceleration on this thing is very good. The engine responsiveness is nice. My foot's barely on the pedal and I'm hitting 60 almost instantly. It's very speedy and it's fun to drive. It's this little tiny sporty hatchback that you can like whip around the back roads whenever you want to. The fuel efficiency is great, and it's a cool little car. I mean, you know, you're not going to be unsatisfied with a sporty hatchback. If you want something boring, you would have gotten the normal Corolla, you know. But this thing's nice. I mean, it handles turns very well because it's a sporty little car. It's got a very small turning radius. It fits in parking spaces tremendously. I mean, I'm used to driving a pickup truck. The thing's a pain in the ass to navigate. This thing, it's short, it's stubby. Just whip it around and boom, you're good. It took a very sharp turn, like it was nothing almost. Honestly, like usually sporty little hatchbacks have very loud road noise and they're not comfortable. However, Toyota really insulates you, and there's not a whole lot of road noise in this thing despite its smallness, and it's a pretty smooth ride. There's one thing I did have to complain about. It is a small car, granted, so take it with a grain of sand, but this thing handles bumps terribly. However, it's no pickup truck with a couple feet of ground clearance. This thing is a little hatchback, so you can't really be expecting great suppression when you run over a bump. Putting the Corolla in sport mode, there's a slight difference in speed. It's not as jumpy and exhilarating as a 535i or the A4 was. However, there's a bit of a notable difference when you're putting it in sport mode opposed to the normal eco mode of the Corolla hatch. It's speedier, but it's nothing, it's a very meager difference. You're not like blown away by the sportiness of the sport mode. It's just a subtle change, nothing exhilarating. One thing I will mention about the Corolla Hatch, the visibility isn't great. It's not bad by any means. However, since it's a hatchback, there are more pillars to kind of shape it in the sporty, circular, bubbly way. So the visibility is a bit cut off opposed to the normal Corolla. However, it's nothing terrible. I mean, you can still see fine out of this, but it's not as great as a normal car would be. But nonetheless, the Corolla Hatchback's a pretty fun car to drive. I mean, it's very economical. You're getting a good car for a great value. I mean, this thing will last forever. It's a Toyota. And it's just a fun little thing to whip around. I mean, the seats are pretty comfortable. I mean, they're not as comfortable as the 535i's or my F-150 seats, granted, but they're like half the size of them. But they're still pretty comfortable. They're very grippy. You feel planted in them. That's a good feeling to have when you're driving a car. But I mean, it's pretty fun to whip this thing around. It's not a bad car. I personally like to drive it, and I'm not even a car person, so it's not a bad investment if you want to get a little sporty thing for a good price. And it's a good looking car too, so win-win on whatever you want. Reliability, looks, speed, it's all there for you. So good investment if you want to buy 2019 Corolla Hatchback. One last feature about the Toyota Corolla XSE Hatchback is it has remote ignition from the Toyota app on the iPhone, as I will now demonstrate with a touch of a button. You can see here, hit it there, punch in the pin, and 1, 2, 3, soon enough. And there's the lights, flickering. There we go. It is now time for the interview section where I answer 6 generic questions one would ask when going to purchase a vehicle. Question number 1 is, do I like the Corolla XSE Hatchback? And the answer is yes. The Corolla XSE Hatchback is a very nice looking redesigned model of the Corolla Hatchback on Toyota's part. It is somewhat fun to drive, it's roomy inside, it's pretty comfortable for the most part, so yes, I do like the Corolla XSE Hatchback. Question number 2 of the interview section is, what is my favorite part about the Corolla XSE Hatchback? And that would have to be the back end exterior of the Corolla Hatchback. As I mentioned multiple times throughout this video, I firmly believe that the exterior hatch part of the Corolla is extremely nice looking, making it one of the best looking hatches on the market today. Question number 3 of the interview section is, what is my least favorite part about the Corolla XSE Hatchback? And aside from the obnoxious blank switches near the steering wheel, it is the integration of the screen on the Corolla. Like I said before, it's like Toyota practically stuck a mini iPad, tossed it on the center console, and then called it a day. So Toyota very much could have integrated this better. However, nonetheless, they did it this way, so it's not bad, but just kind of laziness, so oh well. Question number 4 of the interview section is, what is the most outlandish feature of the Toyota Corolla XSE Hatchback? And that is the vanity mirror on the sun visor. When you slide it open, this little dome light comes on to greet you, which is a bit bizarre, but very satisfying, so it's a nice feature on Toyota's part. Question number 5 of the interview section is the car worth its value? And as an understatement, yes, you are getting a sporty vehicle. It's not thrilling by any means, but it is a bit sporty. It's a hatchback. It's very reliable. It's a Toyota. It's got great fuel economy. It's a good-looking car, and you're getting it for under $30,000. So yes, the XSE Hatchback is a great value. Question number 6 of the interview section is, would I ever want/own the vehicle? And to put it bluntly, no. I like the Corolla XSE Hatchback. It's a cool vehicle, it's sporty. However, being a truck person, I have no desire to own one of these, nor do I hope I ever will. So yeah, that's my opinion. I don't ever want to own one of these things. Now that we have evaluated the Corolla XSE Hatchback's individual characteristics and features, it is now time to evaluate it on the Lemonless scoring scale. Before I begin, once again, I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to my friend Omer for helping me edit this video. So on with the scoring system. Starting with exterior of the Corolla Hatchback, the Corolla itself is not overly gorgeous looking, however it is not ugly by any means, so I got a 6 out of 10 for the exterior. Moving to the interior of the Corolla hatchback's a little more bland than the exterior. It's not ugly. You got your touch screens, your technological features. You got your leather seats. It's not bad by any means, but it's not great. So it's just in the middle. So it's a 5 out of 10 for the interior. Moving along with the road trip of the Corolla XSE hatchback. The leather seats are pretty plush, much better than cloth seats. However, they're not as comfortable and spacious as my F-150s or the 535i's seats, so it gets a 5 out of 10 for the road trip. MPG of the Corolla is very strong. The Corolla is a spunky little hatchback. It's got great gas mileage because it's not a very heavy vehicle. It averages 34 miles per gallon on the rescored or re-evaluized MPG list, which I will leave in the description. It gets an 8 out of 10 for the MPG, the highest so far. Storage on the Corolla hatchback is decent. Although it is a hatchback and it's a small little car, it's got decent room for a little vehicle, so it gets a 5 out of 10 for the storage. Character on the Corolla hatchback is in the middle. Yes, since it is a hatchback, it is more characteristic and unique than the typical sedan or coupe. It is still a Corolla nonetheless, which is a very ordinary car, and you will see a lot of these, maybe not in the hatch form, but it is still a Corolla, so it gets a 4 out of 10 for the character. Wish list on the Corolla is pretty high. It does have good tech and it's got comfort and good quality. However, I would not mind having a sunroof in the Corolla hatch or a little bit more versatile screen, so it gets an 8 out of 10 for the wish list. Handling on the Corolla hatchback is pretty decent. It is a quick, speedy little car. Turning is fine, not awkward or hard to use, but not insane at the same time, so it gets a 5 out of 10 for the handling. Excitement on the Corolla is pretty low. Since it is a hatchback, it bumps up the score a little bit. However, like I mentioned before, it is still a Corolla, and no one is really excited to drive a Corolla, so it's a 3 out of 10 for the excitement. Stupidity on the Corolla is alright. There's a couple odd features such as the blank switches and the poorly integrated infotainment system, so it gets a 7 out of 10 for the stupidity. Price on the Corolla is very good. I had reluctance not giving this a 10 out of 10. However, you are getting a very reliable car since it is a Toyota. It'll last forever. It's nice looking. It's somewhat fun to drive, and it's less than $30,000, so you're getting a very good value. So it gets a 9 out of 10 for the price. Engine responsiveness on the Corolla is pretty good. It is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and it is not sluggish by any means. It's kind of speedy, honestly, due to its lightweight genericness. It's not sluggish, as I mentioned, but it's not zippy off the line either, so it gets a 5 out of 10 for the engine responsiveness. And overall amenities on the Corolla is pretty strong. You have good tech, you have sport mode, you have cruise control, and all these other technological features that are starting to become mandatory in cars now. However, there's nothing bizarre or outlandish, but it is a modern car and it should have good features, which it does, so it gets an 8 out of 10 for the overall amenities. Add that all up and you get a grand total of 78 out of 130. Divide that by 13 categories is 6 on the dot evenly, which places the Corolla XSE hatchback in second place behind the BMW 535i. The Corolla itself is not as luxurious as the 535i, nor is it as luxurious as the A4 Quattro. However, the extreme practicality of the Corolla hatchback gives it a lot of points that some of the other cars lack in. So with that, the Corolla scores very well. There'll be more reviews in the future. Thank you for watching.